My mother was truly a stage mother, a mean one.
Hollywood glitter often hid the darkest family stories. Behind many bright young stars stood mothers who wanted fame even more desperately than their children. Tonight, we look at the most ruthless stage mothers of the Golden Age. Women who shaped, controlled, and sometimes shattered the lives of their daughters.
She was very jealous because she had absolutely no talent. She would sort of stand in the wings when I was a little girl, and if I didn't feel good, if I was sick to my tummy, she'd say, "You get out and sing, or I'll wrap you around the bedpost and break you off short." So I'd go on and sing.
1. Mary Miles Minter and Charlotte Shelby. Mary Miles Minter, born in 1902, entered show business under the strict control of her mother, Charlotte Shelby. Determined to secure her daughter's rise, Charlotte used the birth certificate of a deceased relative so Mary could work despite child labor laws. By the mid-1910s, Mary had become a promising silent-era star, appearing in films for studios tied to Paramount. Charlotte managed every aspect of her career: contracts, money, and public image, reflecting the power many early Hollywood parents held. Mary's life shifted in 1920 when she grew close to director William Desmond Taylor. After Taylor's murder in 1922, the sensational investigation dragged in everyone around him. Though Charlotte was never charged, public speculation damaged Mary's reputation, and by 1923, her contract was not renewed. Her roles quickly disappeared. In 1925, Mary sued Charlotte for financial accounting, though the case was settled quietly 2 years later. Soon afterward, she left Hollywood entirely, living privately until her death in 1984. Her story highlights how parental ambition and scandal could rapidly build, and just as quickly destroy, a young star in early cinema. 2. Gypsy Rose Lee, June Havoc, and Rose Hovick. Rose Thompson Hovick, born in 1890, became one of America's most infamous stage mothers. After divorcing Jack Hovick, she pushed her daughters, June and Rose Louise, later Gypsy Rose Lee, into vaudeville. Determined to keep them working, she routinely altered ages, falsified documents, and moved from state to dodge child labor rules. Performers who knew the family described Rose as controlling and domineering, handling all earnings and enforcing strict discipline. June, the act's standout dancer, carried much of their success until she fled as a teenager to escape her mother's grip. With June gone, Rose shifted her ambitions to Rose Louise, steering her into burlesque. Under the name Gypsy Rose Lee, she gained unexpected fame in the late 1930s for her witty, elegant approach to striptease. Yet, the relationship with her mother remained strained, marked by emotional manipulation and resentment. Their chaotic family history later inspired the 1959 musical Gypsy, which cemented Rose Hovick as the archetypal relentless stage mother, both feared and fascinating in American entertainment lore. 3. Judy Garland and Ethel Gum. Judy Garland, born Frances Ethel Gum in 1922, began performing almost as soon as she could walk. Her parents owned a small Minnesota theater, and Judy and her sisters performed as the Gum Sisters. Their mother, Ethel Gum, acted as coach and booking agent, enforcing demanding rehearsals and driving their early success. After the family moved to California in 1926, Ethel focused on Judy's future in film, arranging auditions just as Hollywood's studio system was expanding. At 13, Judy signed with MGM. The studio imposed strict diets, long hours, and constant work, but biographers note that Judy was already conditioned by years of pressure at home. Ethel managed nearly every decision: public appearances, finances, and personal choices, maintaining an emotional hold that Judy struggled to escape. Many later accounts link Judy's lifelong issues with anxiety, self-doubt, and medication to this period when both mother and studio demanded unending perfection. Although Judy cared deeply for her mother, their bond was fraught and often painful. Ethel's ambition helped shape an icon, but also left lasting scars Judy carried throughout her life. 4. Dorothy Dandridge's Two Mothers. Dorothy Dandridge was born in 1922 in Cleveland, where her mother, Ruby Dandridge, and Ruby's partner, Geneva Neva Williams, pushed her early into show business. Ruby created a musical act, The Wonder Children, featuring Dorothy and her sister, Vivian, while Neva managed rehearsals and bookings. Much of Dorothy's childhood was spent touring the South with long performance days and irregular schooling, shaping her discipline and stage presence. In 1930, the family moved to California, hoping for steadier work. Dorothy attended school in Pasadena while continuing to perform. By 1934, she and Vivian teamed with singer Etta Jones to form the Dandridge Sisters, a trio that gained radio and nightclub popularity and appeared in several films, including Going Places, 1938, with Louis Armstrong. Ruby closely monitored Dorothy's early earnings and artistic choices, believing in her daughter's potential and expecting full commitment. Both Ruby and Neva structured Dorothy's life around constant performance, giving her skills that later helped her solo career in the 1940s, though the pressures of that demanding upbringing remained with her long after those early years on the road. 5. Jean Harlow and Jean Bellow. Jean Harlow, born Harlean Harlow Carpenter in 1911, became one of the defining stars of early 1930s Hollywood. Her mother, Jean Bellow, had once pursued acting herself and strongly encouraged her daughter's entry into film. After separating from Harlean's father, Mother Jean moved with her daughter to California, where Harlean gradually entered small film roles in the late 1920s. Harlow's career transformed with Hell's Angels, 1930, launching her to major stardom. Throughout the decade, Mother Jean lived with her, exerting considerable influence over her finances, personal choices, and public image. Biographers often describe her as protective and controlling, particularly during crises such as the 1932 death of Harlow's husband, Paul Byrne, officially ruled a suicide. When Harlow became seriously ill in 1937 with what was diagnosed as acute kidney failure, later sensational accounts sometimes exaggerated her mother's involvement. Contemporary records point mainly to the severity of the illness, though they confirm Mother Jean's strong emotional control. Jean Harlow died in June 1937 at age 26, after a brief but intensely managed life lived largely under her mother's direction. 6. Natalie Wood and Maria Gurdin. Natalie Wood, born Natalia Zakharenko in 1938, entered films before age 4, guided by her determined mother, Maria Gurdin. After director Irving Pichel noticed Natalie's natural presence, he encouraged the family to relocate to Los Angeles, where she soon landed her breakthrough role in Tomorrow is Forever, 1946. From the start, Maria oversaw nearly every aspect of her daughter's career: wardrobe, behavior, interviews, and negotiations with studios. And biographers often describe her as intensely ambitious and emotionally demanding. One widely cited story recounts that during a difficult scene, when Natalie couldn't cry on cue, Maria provoked real tears by confronting her with a distressing image, a moment that deeply affected the young actress. Natalie became a national figure with Miracle on 34th Street, 1947, and through the 1950s, Maria remained central to managing her transition into teenage and adult roles. She monitored Natalie's relationships, career choices, and public image, even as her daughter became a major star in films such as Rebel Without a Cause and Splendor in the Grass. Maria's influence, and her later involvement in shaping Natalie's legacy after her death, underscored how strongly those early, tightly controlled years shaped their bond. 7. Linda Darnell and Pearl Brown. Linda Darnell, born in 1923 in Dallas, was singled out early by her mother, Pearl Brown, as the child destined for stardom. Pearl entered her into beauty contests and modeling jobs, sometimes inflating Linda's age to secure better opportunities. By 11, Linda modeled for newspapers and stores. By 13, she was performing in local theater, all under her mother's direction. Throughout the 1930s, Pearl pushed her daughter toward increasingly mature work and encouraged her to present herself as older than she was. Linda traveled to Hollywood at 14, but studios considered her too young. A year later, after more preparation and Pearl's persistent encouragement, she signed with 20th Century Fox at 15. Her beauty and poise quickly made her a rising star in films such as Hotel for Women, 1939, Stardust, 1940, and Blood and Sand, 1941. Pearl remained a constant influence, monitoring Linda's appearance and discouraging anything that might jeopardize her career. Linda later acknowledged both the love and pressure behind her mother's ambitions, dreams Pearl had once held for herself. The emotional strain, body image struggles, and career pressures Linda carried into adulthood were deeply rooted in the expectations shaped by her mother from childhood onward. 8. Mary Pickford and Charlotte Hennessy Smith. Mary Pickford, born Gladys Smith in 1892, entered show business after her father's death, when her mother, Charlotte Hennessy, began placing Mary and her siblings in stage productions around 1900. Charlotte acted as both chaperone and manager, guiding Mary through stock companies and touring troupes. In 1907, the family moved to New York so 15-year-old Mary could audition for producer David Belasco, a step that led to major Broadway roles and, soon after, to early motion pictures. By 1909, she was appearing in biograph films under D.W. Griffith, with Charlotte handling contracts and finances. As Mary rose to superstardom in the mid-1910s, Charlotte became an essential force behind her career. In 1916, Mary secured a groundbreaking contract with famous players, earning $10,000 a week, profit participation, and creative control, a deal often credited to Charlotte's tough negotiating. Charlotte also shaped Mary's youthful, pure public image and voiced strong opinions about her personal life, including her marriages to Owen Moore and Douglas Fairbanks. Charlotte controlled investments, income, and publicity throughout Mary's ascent. Though Mary later acknowledged both deep gratitude and strain, Charlotte's influence was foundational to her transformation into a United Artists co-founder and one of silent Hollywood's defining icons. 9. Loretta Young and Gladys Royal Belzer. Loretta Young, born Gretchen Young in 1913, entered Hollywood almost as soon as her family settled in Los Angeles. After separating from her husband, Gladys Royal opened a boarding house for actors, giving her daughters, Polly Ann, Sally Blaine, and Gretchen, quick access to studio contacts. Gretchen appeared as a child extra by age 4 or 5, and as she grew, her roles expanded. By the late 1920s, she was acting under the name Loretta Young and soon moved into leading roles, with Gladys managing schedules, auditions, and finances. Gladys maintained strict moral standards and closely supervised her daughter's public reputations. Her most dramatic intervention came in 1935, when Loretta, in her early 20s, became pregnant after an affair with the married Clark Gable during Call of the Wild. To avoid career-ending scandal, Gladys helped orchestrate an elaborate cover-up. Loretta withdrew from sight for the birth. The baby was placed in an orphanage, and nearly 2 years later, Loretta publicly adopted her own child, Judy. Gladys's careful planning preserved Loretta's career, but also illustrated the intense control she exercised, a blend of maternal devotion, religious discipline, and strategic secrecy. 10. Elizabeth Taylor and Sarah Southern. Elizabeth Taylor, born in 1932 in London, moved with her American parents to Los Angeles in 1939. Her mother, Sarah Southern, a former stage actress, quickly recognized Elizabeth's cinematic potential. Through family contacts, she arranged screen tests at Universal and later MGM. Elizabeth debuted in There's One Born Every Minute, 1942, at age 10, and after Universal released her, MGM signed her, seeing a rare presence on camera. Her breakthrough came with National Velvet, 1944, turning 12-year-old Elizabeth into one of MGM's most valuable young stars. Throughout these years, Sarah acted as a constant chaperone and strategist. She supervised Elizabeth's tutoring, accompanied her to publicity events, monitored friendships and social outings, and maintained close communication with studio executives to protect her daughter's image. Biographers describe her as refined, disciplined, and quietly ambitious, a steady force shaping Elizabeth's transition from child actress to adolescent star. Although not known for overt abuse, Sarah's control was extensive, rooted partly in her own unfulfilled theatrical dreams. Under her guidance, Elizabeth Taylor became one of the most recognizable young actresses of the 1940s, molded by a combination of discipline, protection, and her mother's deep investment in her career. 11. Deanna Durbin and Ada Durbin. Deanna Durbin, born Edna Mae Durbin in 1921, showed remarkable vocal talent from childhood. Her mother, Ada Durbin, nurtured this early promise after the family moved to California, arranging lessons, supervising auditions, and guiding Deanna's training. In 1936, at 14, Deanna signed with MGM and appeared in a short film with Judy Garland. When MGM unexpectedly dropped her, Universal hired her, and Three Smart Girls, 1936, became a major hit credited with saving the studio from financial collapse. Throughout Deanna's rise, Ada vigilantly shaped her daughter's image. She coordinated interviews, protected Deanna's reputation for innocence, and resisted studio efforts to sexualize her as she matured. Ada also exerted notable control over finances and long-term career decisions. By the late 1940s, Deanna felt trapped between public expectations, studio demands, and her mother's guidance. In 1948, at only 26, she chose to leave Hollywood entirely and later settled in France, living a quiet life. Her departure reflected a desire for independence after a youth and career heavily molded by Ada's ambitions and careful management. 12. Shirley Temple and Gertrude Temple. Shirley Temple, born in 1928, entered dance school at age 3 after her mother, Gertrude Temple, noticed her talent and charm. Enrolling her in Meglin's dance school, a major pipeline for young performers, Gertrude pushed Shirley toward auditions, leading to the Baby Burlesque's shorts and, by 1934, national fame with Stand Up and Cheer and Bright Eyes. At just 6, Shirley became America's top box office star, a title she held for 4 straight years. Gertrude managed every detail of her daughter's career. She created the iconic 56 curls, supervised schooling and rehearsals, coordinated behavior expectations with Fox Studios, and guarded the carefully crafted image of innocence that made Shirley beloved worldwide. Between 1934 and 1939, Shirley appeared in more than 20 films, a workload few adults could sustain. Though not depicted as abusive, Gertrude enforced strict discipline, leaving Shirley little room for an ordinary childhood. Even as Shirley's teen career slowed, her mother continued shaping her public persona. Shirley retired from acting in 1950, carrying both immense opportunities and the pressures of a childhood guided by her mother's intense oversight. Hollywood made stars, but many grew up under parents whose ambition cut deeper than fame. Some daughters shined, others shattered, yet all carried those shadows. Fame fades, a parent's hold lasts far longer.